The Cuban Missile Crisis began with the failure of the Bay of the Pigs invasion, which gave Khrushchev a reason to get in touch with Fidel Castro. This conversation led to the agreement to place Soviet missiles in Cuba. The main reason Khrushchev wanted to build missile sites in Cuba was because the United States was leading the Soviet Union in medium to intermediate range nuclear weapons. If the missiles were in Cuba, it would give the Soviet Union more accuracy and range when sending missiles to the United States. It would also give the Soviet Union a counterattack to the United States' blended first strike. The missiles could also give the Soviet Union leverage over the United States to take control over West Berlin. Surprisingly to Khrushchev, Fidel Castro accepted the proposal with ease, due to the fear of the United States trying to invade Cuba again. Also, they shared the same interest in preventing the United States from taking over Cuba. For Khrushchev to lose Cuba would do significant damage to the communist cause. But Fidel Castro did worry he would turn into a puppet for the Soviet Union, yet he considered the United States as a larger threat. Soviet soldiers sent to transport the cargo were provided with false information and unclear details about their mission. The CIA was suspicious of the Soviets' intentions in Cuba, and they commenced a secretive operation to investigate the building of missile sites. Soon after, on August 10th, John A. McCone wrote to Kennedy, discussing the possibility of ballistic missiles being introduced into Cuba. Over the next couple of months, the United States sent multiple U-2 spy planes to observe the multiple missile sites being created in Cuba. There were two options to solve this issue. Either the United States would send an airstrike to Cuba to destroy the missile site, or create a naval blockade around Cuba to block out the delivery of offensive weapons. On October 22nd, Kennedy ordered a naval quarantine on Cuba. Kennedy also sent a letter declaring that the United States would not permit offensive weapons being delivered to Cuba, demanding that the Soviets dismantle the missile bases that were completed or under construction, and to return all offensive weapons back to the USSR. On October 24th, Khrushchev responded saying that the blockade was an act of aggression, and that they would ignore the United States' demands. On the evening of October 26, Khrushchev sent Kennedy a message proposing a resolution to the issue, which stated that if the conflict were to continue, this would only lead to thermonuclear war. The next day, Khrushchev sent another message to Kennedy, stating that any proposal to end the conflict must include the removal of the U.S. Jupiter missiles in Turkey. That same day, the U-2 spy plane, which was watching Cuba, was shot down, which concerned Kennedy and his advisors, and made them believe they would have to attack Cuba within the next couple of days. But before it got to that, they searched for a way to still solve this diplomatically. Kennedy sent another message that proposed steps to remove the Soviet missiles from Cuba under the supervision of the UN. This would also guarantee that the United States would not attack Cuba. On October 27th, Kennedy secretly agreed to remove all missiles in Turkey, in exchange for Khrushchev removing all missiles in Cuba. This was the end of the crisis, but a new crisis would break out soon.